Right, and for those that is can see my cloud screen. So this is engagement or entity that I've created in our development space. So they are still finalizing some content there, and I want to quickly take you through what it can and cannot do. So as you know, Kenya, I'm going to change this entity that it's a Kenya entity, just so that we can look at that specifically. And I'm going to save that. And I'm going to say I want to do a new engagement file. And I really want to, so as we go along, I will highlight some key features. So some of them are just cloud features that will be similar to any of our other cloud products. And I will just, like I say, highlight them um, just to mention as we go along. So firstly, if you think about, there's a instant creation of the file. Close to instant. So there's no downloading software, there's no installing software. It also enables us to update the templates much quicker and much more frequently if we do get into that space. So really a very big benefit for us. So this is how your engagement file will look. And I'm going to start here just to navigate a little bit. So we have phases here at the left-hand side, and you'll see those pop up as we go along. Then we have here your documents, which is basically your document manager. We have your data, where you'll import your TB, your journals, and issues and queries, which I will also show you a little bit later. And then here on the right-hand side, if you open this up, you also have your document manager that shows there if you want a bit, if you don't worry about the real estate on your screen. So the aim is really to try and make it as intuitive as possible. So what that means is we're trying to eliminate any documents that you don't need. So it's really entity specific. It is really your TB specific. And we want to guide the users on what they need to complete as we go along. So that's why when you open the file, you'll see you only have this one document to complete. If you want to change your year end, you'll click here. So here you can see this is 31st December. We're happy with that. And it is in Kenya shillings. But if you want shillings, sorry. But if you want to, you could change it here. And this is also where you lock down the file if you're done with it. So if I open then the client firm information, you'll see there's some disclaimers that we're going to accept. And then that will start to build my financials. And then what will happen is you will answer the questions. And the first few checklists is really to build the file. And then as soon as you start pulling your TB in, then it will start building your checklist that will build your financials as an output document. So I'm just going to answer this very quickly, but obviously we'll read it nicely through it because we do need some just to pull through. So there you have your Kenya. Yes, here I can just say my nature of business is a demo company. There I can also just select this company. I don't have a holding company. I'm really like on my own small SME. I've got some directors. Yeah, I can say I've got two. And then as you say here, it will start to populate. I'm just going to do quickly two here that you can complete. Here you build your financial statements just like the name. So annual financial statements, statement of financial position. You just make those choices here, and you also make the tax rate changes here. And we say we want this to be audit. So in our current desktop, we have the audit report in the financials. This is one of the changes that we've made because really the preparation, the audit is two different engagements. So for that reason, we just put in a placeholder to say this is where the audit report is going to come in. And here we're going to say Mr. Partner. Oh, I can't spell this morning. If I then go back to my document manager, you'll see it starts to create more documents. So here is my engagement letter. And then here's my trial balance and my immaterial checklist that I will come to now. So your engagement letter is your normal engagement letter that you can complete. You can also upload it here. So I've already created one. Let me just find it quickly. Oh, sorry guys, I think I stopped sharing. Okay, there we go. So okay, so what I've got here is my engagement letter that's already been signed, so I can upload it, and then it replaces it in here. I can open it up, and then my PDF document will show. So there's my engagement letter. So any documents that there's a placeholder for, you can upload it. You can also add some additional placeholders. Then if we come to our trial balance or our data here, this is really where you import the TB. So we have some different options here. Firstly, you can import from a different engagement file. So if I have created one entity and I want to import the same TB in here, you'll do that. I've got desktop accounting software. Then I also have your online accounting software. And this is really where we see the benefits, especially again for our smaller clients. A lot of them are moving to online accounting platforms, being Xero and Sage and QuickBooks, the ones that we see most frequently. We will also expand on this list as we go along. So definitely feedback if you do have somebody that want a specific data source that you can communicate to us. But these are the ones that we see most frequently in the market. I'm not going to go through this because it's the same as for our other cloud products. But I just want to show you that. And then I'm just going to do an Excel file just because we are used to it. So these are, this is how you will tag it like you normally do. And then you can just import it at the bottom. Sorry. So there's my TB and it is imported already. So if I first go here to my financial groups, this will be what is typically your TB by leads like we have it. You can toggle here at the top. You can have your parent group showing. You can have your account showing. You can have your account number showing. And you can really toggle it the way that you want to see it. Then here on the side, you can also annotate. So if you want to link it to a specific document, you can. So say I want to agree to that, then it will put a little reference there. And this is also where everywhere where you see this little flag is an indication of where you can raise issues. And I can say this amount seems high. And I can create an issue. And all these issues will then at the end populate here under the issues tab. So if you just go back to the data, so if I go to my assigned accounts, so you'll notice as in this TB, all my accounts have auto mapped already. So we are really trying for the mapping that's taking a lot of time to automate that more. So if your TB accounts is the same as our grouping numbers, so, and that's maybe just important to highlight. In the past, we referred to this is our mapping numbers in desktop. We also had grouping numbers and we also have lead sheets, which is all desktop terms. In cloud, those are all one number and it's called grouping numbers. So if you do use the app, definitely refer to grouping numbers rather. It is similar to what mapping would be in desktop, but the new terminology will be grouping. So what happens with the grouping numbers here is you'll see they're a lot shorter. We made them, so this 311105 is the grouping number. And if your account TB is, your account number and your TB is the same, then it auto maps it. We don't really see clients using this feature, but for demo purposes or for testing purposes, this is quite nice because you can use a TB to test quite a few different scenarios. So say this TB wasn't mapped, or these accounts were not mapped, it would have been here on the unassigned side on the left-hand side. And then what will happen if you, as soon as you click on one, it will come here. You'll see the ones with the blue is debits, the ones with the reds are credits. So quite a nice feature as well. And you can then either drag or drop it here to your suggestions pane at the bottom or to the grouping structure on the right-hand side. So say this was not investment property. They've perhaps used the wrong label, but it was rather land. So then I can drag it to this side. And that is how it will map. Okay, so that is basically how you import and get the TB. Then if I go back to my document manager, then you'll see there's a few more documents starting to populate, but this is one of the most important documents and changes that we have in the solution compared to desktop, and we call this the immaterial exclusion checklist. So there's a big drive from the regulators to not have just a boilerplate dump of information. And it is important for us because we're providing a template to guide the user on when, or as far as possible, on when to use standard wording or disclosure and when they should use their own more relevant disclosure. So we really try that throughout the product. One of the items that is becoming more and more evident is that you don't have to have a line for each item in your balance sheet or income statement. You don't have to have a note in accounting policy. And this is quite a shift in how most of us were trained that went through audit, because that was one of the things. If there's a figure on the balance sheet, there must be an accounting policy and there must be a note. But what the regulators are saying now, and the standard setters are, if it is immaterial, then really it shouldn't be on there, because you're really wasting a little bit of real estate to add wording that doesn't really add any value. So, but the term of what is immaterial is really up to judgments, which make it hard to put in a product to say. It's not like you can say more than 5% of your revenue, or if it's above this value, you have to put it in. It's really about professional judgment. This for me ties very much into this whole discussion about technology and the future of accounting and how it will work. Is yes, there's certain things that we can automate, and we will automate as far as we can, because it means that where the human element is needed, like where you have to really look at what is judgment and understand your client, no machine can do that at this point. So this is where you want your clients and your clerks to spend time on this. Is this item really material? So for this scenario here, and again, what it does is as soon as you map something here, you'll see that that it's here. But if it isn't, so say I didn't have trade and other receivables, then this section won't be here. So we're really trying as far as we go along to make sure that only the relevant information show, to make it less prone for any errors. So I'm going to include all of these because I feel it's material. The one that I'm going to exclude here is finance cost. So if you think about finance costs, you can justify to say, I only have a bank account, I don't have a loan. So it's really my bank interest that is there. So if you think about how it will normally show, your accounting policy would say finance cost is obtained from the bank, and your note will have bank interest. It's really not adding much value to the financials. So I'm going to exclude that, or to any of the users, and then the rest I'm going to include. And because this is such an important document, we do have a sign off here or acceptance at the bottom. Because what it really does, if you now think about finance costs, it will still show in your income statement, because otherwise the financials won't balance, but your notes in accounting policy will not be there and your checklist will not be there. So it's quite important to make sure that whoever does this take the ownership and make a conclusion, because it builds the rest of your financials. If I then go back to your document manager, you'll now see that all my checklists have started to populate here at the bottom for my relevant items. Before I go through one of them, I just want to show you the financials as they are. So we really want the user journey to go and complete the checklist, and then you open the financials. But there is a lot of our clients that like to just see on a glance what they can get in 10 minutes that I've now spent with you demoing this. So just wait for that to open. So you'll see I have my cover page already. My table of content is there. My director's report I've started to build. Director's responsibility and approval. I've got my placeholders for my audit report for my 2 pages. Then here is my balance sheet, income statement and retained earnings. My cash flow is being populated. And then here's my notes starting. So even before you've completed any of the checklist, most of your notes will already have your table in that you normally have, that pulls from your TB, and it will have your basic accounting policy. And you'll also notice here that the other change that we've made is to have the note and the accounting policy in one section. This is really also a move that a lot of the regulators are going to. We've had a few clients asking for this. The illustrators are based on this. And we really feel as a user journey, this is much better to read from the user's perspective. If we now look at trade and other receivables, it's a little bit smaller note. You'll see that you'll have your numbers at the top. So if you're a number person, this is what your eye will catch first. If you're more a narration person, this is what you will read. But the story that goes with the numbers are together. And that just made sense to us to make this improvement while we are doing a new product. So I'm going to spend a bit more time on the financials, but before that, I just want to show you how the checklist works, because that is really the user journey. So if we go back to our document manager, and so this is just a general checklist, which I'm not going to answer now. And let's look at PPE, for example. So all the checklists work basically the same. You have your document map here on the left-hand side where you can click on and it will jump to where it wants to go to. Again, on the right-hand side, you can open your document manager that have this. You have analysis graphs in each of your checklists, which will give you like the little TB, and it will give you the graphs at the bottom. This will show up to 5 years. It just depends on the number of years of TBs that you've imported. And you can also toggle some here if you just want to see that, or if you just want to see that. And you can also edit some comments. Then we also have some guidance here, and anything that we need to give guidance on for that specific checklist, we have put in here. So if you jump back to the preparation, and I'm going to quickly jump to the financial statements as well. I'm just going to open that in a different tab that you guys can see what it does. Right, so if we just quickly look, we have our summary table here at the top. Then we have our reconciliations of the 2 years, and then we have our accounting policy. So like I said, this accounting policy is a standard accounting policy, so it's required by the standard that this must be in. But then there's certain things that you need more information or it's a choice. So if we then jump back here, we're going to start answering these questions. So I can say, no, I'm going to say no. So yes, there was some. Was there major spare parts? No, I don't think on land there will be. We used a cost model. Was there change in accounting policy? No. And you can go along and answer these questions. And you'll see as soon as I answer this one, another question appears. So there's sometimes a question that follows on the previous one. And I'm just going to say no. And I want to say there's one. Visible security on land, the carry amount. And I can do that. And let's just answer these as no to get the answers. So really, if you think about your first-time user that don't necessarily prepare financials a lot, this is really firstly to guide them, so they don't have to read through our accounting policies and notes to decide should I switch this on or should I not. As you answer these, it will build what comes up in your financials. Then we have added here the reconciliation table, which is the same in the financials. And the idea is, like I said, that the financials are output documents. So for that reason, we've put this in here, that you complete it here and it will pull through to your financials. Let me just go. So there's your recon that you will complete, and then you see your undefined difference will go away. Here I'll also just go, just let me see. So that was 4.8, and say I had here also minus 100. Right, and then that will pull through. Then if you have any other additional sections that you have to complete, for example, commitments or something like that, we've put in hyperlinks here at the bottom for you to complete. So then if you could jump back to your financials, and I'm just going to refresh it. Then you'll see the numbers here are pulling through the 100,000, my opening balance, my closing balance. You'll also see that the accounting policy is a little bit longer. It's maybe a bit hard to notice it, but like this one is new, the one that was added for my pledge of security. And this is how the financials will be built. So you'll go through all the checklists, you'll complete it. You can also, if you are done with any of the checklists, you can also use a sign-off functionality that you can click on here and you can sign off. And let me just sign off a few. And then you'll see here, it will also have your checklists that are still outstanding. Then you have the query functionality available here. I'm not going to go through that. There's also a query document that will come up here, as this is the same as in all the other products. But what it does, it can also add then the different documents that you require for your disclosure in here. So you can also, if I go on here, you can hide it and you can create a document. You can also upload a document. So for example, you have your trade and other receivables that you've received. You can also upload it there as an Excel document. Again, the same as the PDF that we have at the top. The top one just had here already a placeholder, but you can also just directly upload it. Right, then if we then go back to the financial statements, just a few more things on the functionality is, so you can still add anything to here. So say, for example, you want to add narration here, which is specific to this entity. You can click on there and you can say you want to add a text section. And you can start to type. So it's quite simple to add text section. The only thing that is very important to notice is that this doesn't write back to the checklist. So the checklist build the financials, but if you edit on the end, this doesn't go back to what was in the checklist. You can also, if you want to, and let's maybe go to the cover page, you can add images in any place where you want to. So I'm just going to insert it here. And let's choose our new logo. And then it will embed it like that. You can also add this to any other place. So if I just jump back to my PPE, so for example, you have an image that you wanted to add here for some other reason, you can use the same toolbar here. So it's the same toolbar that's available in the beginning is also available here. Then some other functionalities is you have here the review tool. This is quite useful. You can also see at the top, I'm the only person in this file, but you can have multiple users working on the same file. So while one person might be doing the PPE, the other person can be doing the trade receivables, and you can have another person that starts reviewing in the file. So that's definitely very useful for our clients and something that we can't currently do. And then if I just click on the review tool again, you'll see that there's certain things that it will highlight for me. So for example, here, new content is this plus green. So if I just untick all of that, you'll see that this is the one that still shows. This is new content that I've added. And then I can just go like that and toggle the review off. Then there's a few settings that is available here. So here's your table borders. So you can decide if you want a thin line, thick line. So these are the kind of features that CWI is constantly improving on and changing, but this gives you some if you want to customize it a bit more to give a bit more flavor. You also have, I'll just jump back here, currency symbol, which will say, do you want it in the column header or not? They're also adding another setting here, which is going to be your rounding, which will be to thousands, millions, or billions. And how do you want to display it under your table header or on the left-hand side? So they're currently working on that. So all your settings are here on the side. If you go back to your document manager, there is also some settings here. And this is more like your long dates, short dates, your numbers, you want brackets or not brackets, which our users are quite used to. Right, and then if I go to my financial statements again, if you want to print it, And there you can see Etienne has joined us in the file. Thank you, Etienne. Just to show how it will look if there's more than one person that is currently in the file. So if you want to print preview, you can do that, and this is how it will display. Right, so there's my logo, there's my financials, table of content, and as we started to build the financials is my statement of financial position, cash flow, and my notes. Okay, then just one more document that I want to go through is our cash flow worksheet. This is also something that's completely new. It is a big document. It's a big, it must be big because the cash flow is very important. We're similarly looking to doing something similar for the desktop for the October release. What this worksheet does is it actually gives our users the opportunity to take out any of their non-cash flow items, but only the cash flow, the actual cash flows on the cash flow statement. So one of the requirements of the standard, and I'll talk about this again with desktop, and we'll talk about this going forward during the year. So the standard, as always, required that on the face of the cash flow should only be the cash flow. But there's really a big focus on that, and we've seen it from the JSE, we've seen it from IRBA, that it's not currently being done correctly, because what the users do, and if you maybe just use the trade receivables as an example, this is my prior year balance sheet figure, this is my current year balance sheet figure, and then they show the 3.5 on the cash flow. But really, there's a lot of transactions that can happen that is non-cash flow that's included in those balances. So currently what we're doing is we're only giving them on desktop the 3.5, and we've decided for cloud we want to do it differently, and we're going to give them this working so they can actually input here figures that are non-cash flow. It is, like I said, it's quite a big document. We'll go through it more in the training, but I think it's important to get familiar with it. And at the end, this will pull through to your financials, and the magic zero at the end is showing you that it is balancing.